Pastor Apollo also talked about the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine and said that both parties to find a peaceful solution without any interference. The good pastor also delved into the years of persecution of Russian-speaking Ukrainians in Donbas, a persisting problem that has not been covered by the Western media, and also why Putin launched what he calls a special military operation to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine. Let's know more about this with Angel Pastor.
Go back to the root of the problem without interference from others.
This is what Pastor Apollo Buloy said when asked on how the situation between Russia and Ukraine be solved as the conflict grinds on for more than a year since it first broke out in February 24, 2022. The good pastor believes that the problem can only be solved by going back to its root cause.
USSR was one, and Ukraine is part of the United Soviet Socialist Republic. They are only one, like the US, all states are one. This is the USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, and Ukraine is one of them. And they are borders only with the Russian land. So they are considered brothers. So, during that time, there is no boundary between Russia and Ukraine. So, Russian-speaking people also are now in the boundary we call Ukraine. When there was already the dismantling of the USSR, they all became states by themselves. They all became nations by themselves. That's why there's already a demarcation between Russian land and Ukraine land. But during the USSR period, there are only one.
The good pastor also delved into the years of persecution of Russian-speaking Ukrainians in Donbas, a persisting problem that has not been covered by the Western media.
So there are Russian-speaking people now who are in the Ukrainian territories. We call Donbas region, which is Luhansk, Donetsk, and other like Zaporizhia or others. They are the ones that are still speaking Russian. Because once upon a time, they were together. And so, now, nagkaroon ng conflict dyan because Ukraine wanted to really become identified by their own culture. Separating them from Russian culture. They went to the extreme of saying, we don't want to hear Russian-speaking people here. Don't speak Russian here. Culture of Russia here. No more, no more, no more, no more. Separate. How can you separate this? These are Russian-speaking people that are in the territory of Ukraine called Donbas. That's why they were persecuted before. And it was not reported in the Western media that these Donbas Russian-speaking people now in the territory of Ukraine have been persecuted. They were bombed by the Zelensky government. 14,000 na yung namatay dyan.
After years of persecution and shelling faced by Russian-speaking Ukrainians in Donbas, Pastor said that the calls for help has long been endured by the Russian Federation under the leadership of President Vladimir Putin.
E nagrereklamo sila ngayon doon kay Putin. Tulungan mo naman kami kasi mga Russian kami. Oh, magkatabi lang tayo. 14 years tiniis ni Putin yan. O 8 years ba yun? Tiniis niya. Hanggang sa gumawa sila ng tinatawag na agreement. O si Zelensky initialed it. Yung Minsk agreement. Na they still belong to Ukraine, pero parang autonomous sila.
Pastor Apollo also delved into Ukraine's agonization over Russian culture and language within its social fabric. Based on the 2001 Ukrainian consensus, about a third of Ukrainians have named the Russian language as their mother tongue, and in more recent surveys, majority of Ukrainians say they speak Russian.
autonomous, but they still belong there. Pero huwag niyo galawin ang kanilang lengguwahe kasi Russian sila, pati yung kultura nila. Yun ang gustong erasin ng Zelensky ng Ukraine. Di doon nagkaroon ng conflict, nag-away na. Dito sila nagpapatulong kay Putin. Ganon din doon sa Crimea. Russian-speaking din ang mga tao doon. Ganon din ang ginagawa. Pine-persecute sila. Kung ayaw niyo dito, balik kayo sa Russia. Paano lang iwan lupa nila yun?
The failure of the Minsk agreements caused by what Pastor Apollo described as meddlers were also among the key reasons as to why the Russia-Ukraine situation spiraled out of control and is now what Europe describes as the largest crisis since the World War II. The good pastor was referring to two Minsk agreements that were crafted in an effort to solve the ethnic conflict between Russians and Ukrainians in Ukraine. However, both agreements failed.
Pero pumasok itong tagapaggulo. Ayaw niya. Ayaw niya. Kami susuporta sa iyo. Basta huwag yan.
The good pastor said Ukraine has become a proxy war between Russia and the West and how the current leadership of Ukraine was pressured.
Ginawang proxy war ngayon. Siya ginamit. Na-pressure siya. Kasi hindi naman siya statesman o politician. Comedian siya. Nadala. Nang nadala siya, ayun, pinagpatuloy. Hanggang itong mga nagrereklamo, pinapatay sila, napuno ngayon si Vladimir Putin. Ang ginawa niya, sabi niya, alisin natin sa isang military operations itong mga nanggugulong mga neo-Nazis. Alam niyo sa World War II, ang Russia at ang Germany, kaaway yan. Pati na yung mga allies. Pero ang maraming namatay talaga para sa World War at ang nakapanalo talaga sa World War, hindi yung British o Amerika, ang Russia. 30 million people ang namatay sa Russia para salubungin lang si Hitler. Sila talaga yung pumasok ngayon nung nagapi si Hitler sa Germany. Kaya sila talaga yung nakagapi kay Hitler. Pero naging mabait pa rin sila, binigay pa rin nila sa allies yung division kung saan sila dapat. Ito yung British, ito yung American, ito yung Russian. Ganon ang nangyari. So, ang nangyari ngayon, nagkaroon ng military operations, special military operation para gapiin ang mga neo-Nazis na sa army na siyang pumapatay sa mga Russian-speaking people. Hindi in-honor yung Minsk Agreement. Hindi in-honor na pinirmahan. Umatras na yung mga Russian noon nung pinirmahan yun nagpagit na itong tagapagulo. Hindi ko na ibabanggitin ng pangalan, makamagalit lalo sa akin. Hindi, nagpagit na. Hindi, nagpatuloy ang gera. Ang isip ni Putin ngayon, special operation. Alisin sila na gumagapi doon sa mga, at saka ang kanyang kondisyon ngayon is i-release na ng Ukraine itong mga teritoryo ng Donbas na Russian-speaking people. Tapos ang gulo.
Just recently, Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said that talks between Russia and Ukraine will not happen as long as Putin is president, and that Zelensky and Putin will never be able to be seen at a negotiating table together. In fact, Ukraine has passed a law banning talks with Russia and reneged on the agreement negotiated in March 2022 in Turkey. The first and probably the last time that Putin and Zelensky met was at the table in Paris together with French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Putin, on the other hand, said that Russia is always ready to negotiate an end to hostilities, but he has already declared that the 4 regions he had annexed have become citizens of Russia forever. Reporting, this has been Angel Pastor, SMNI News.